with us, Miss Rekha H. And I'm really grateful that she's here today talking to us about CC5. So we begin the first 15 minutes with CC5, deep dive with Rekha. And then right after that, we jump into back-to-back coaching in breakout rooms.
Everybody, welcome to this session of Regal Nest. And I've been given the privilege of talking about CC5 today. And I think this is a nice thing that is happening, Regal Nest, for coaches to practice. And what I'm loving on top of that is like the cherry on the cake almost, is the brief introduction to the competency that happens and how different people are coming in to share their perspectives. So for me, this is where I want to start off, that every competency, apart from the guidelines that are issued by ICF, right, which is the definition and the markers and the explanation of the competency, the rest of it, I feel, is quite a bit subject to each person's interpretation. And I love the idea that people can dive deep into these competencies and understand it in their own way, interpret it in their own way, and then make them their own, so to say, So that's my take on how these competencies can be read, understood, interpreted, and internalized over time. And I'm still doing it. Every time I read the document and every time I go through the markers or the explanations of the larger document, I find, oh, this is something new that I'm reading for the first time, or this is a different angle that I'm looking at. I hadn't looked at it this way. And exactly how clients get those moments, right, in coaching sessions saying, oh, I had not looked at this situation in this way. Similarly. So what I'm going to talk about today is about CC5, which is maintains presence. And I have a large shoes to fill because Mani has already talked about what he has to say about CC5. And I know that this is a competency very close to your heart, Mani. and I know you speak with a lot of passion about this. Let me see how much justice I can do. So I'm going to talk about my take on this competency, and there is a lot that we can talk about when it comes to this competency. There are many angles, many perspectives. I'm going to focus on a few which I felt are closer to my heart. Yeah. So I'm going to start by looking at the word present. And my reference point is always the English dictionary. And the reason being, this is English language and these words are presented to us through that language. So it's good to fall back on what might be the original meaning of that word, right? So the word present has so many meanings to it. The word present, I know last time Mani said it's about attendance, right? Then I was thinking, what else could present mean? Present is a gift. Present is also a tense, past, present, and future. So how does then that apply to the CC5 competency? And if we had to look at the word present as a gift and the word present as a tense, that it's about the present tense, it's not about the past and it's not about the future, then it gives us a sense of how, therefore, presence could be about, or being present could be about the here and now. Because that is what present tense is. It is about this moment. It is about now. Now, if we add to that the here and the now, then it gives us a different perspective altogether, isn't it? There is a now, and then there is a here and now. How different is that? Because now can be anywhere. But when I put a word here with it, then it means that it is in this place. It gives a kind of a physicality to the whole dimension of being there, right? So that is one way of looking at present that I thought of. But interestingly, ICF doesn't talk about being present. ICF says it is about maintaining presence. So then what is the difference between being present and presence? And when I dived a little deep into that, I realized that the dictionary meaning of presence also covers demeanor. How you come across. So what is your demeanor that you are coming in with into a coaching session? And then if you look at the definition, it makes sense because it talks about openness, right? It talks about flexibility. It talks about curiosity and so on. So that is the kind of demeanor that we are presenting to our clients. And what the clients are connecting to or what the clients are sensing is through the demeanor. So in a sense, for me, presence is an answer to how for the being present, because beingness is a somewhat an amorphous, abstract phenomena. Because anytime we say be present, people want to know, but how do I do that? And then we say, but it's not about doing, it's only about being. So just be. And then I don't know how on earth do I just be? What does it even mean to just be? I'm always being something or the other. We are never not being. We'll only not be when we are dead. So what do you mean be? Am I not being? Interestingly, only human beings are called beings, right? We don't say lion being or cat being or insect being. Why are only humans called beings? So therefore, then we talk about being is also about consciousness. Being is also about awareness. Being is also about applying consciousness to become aware of and then implement choices. So the fact that there are people have choices, the fact that there is not only one way of doing things or there's not only one option, every one of us has choices for everything. Being conscious of that and then consciously choosing it with awareness is what differentiates us as beings from other creatures. This is my way of looking at it. Okay. So how do we come into a session as human beings and not as any other creature? So I have a different understanding of when people say be like a tree or be like river or be like, it doesn't sit well with me personally because I cannot be something I'm not. I'm a human being. I'm not a tree. So how can I be a tree? It has its own nature, its own existence, its own characteristics, right? So well, let's look at presence. So if presence is demeanor, then maintaining that demeanor throughout the relationship with our clients is what CC5 is all about. And to me, it is not only about in the session. To me, maintaining presence is throughout my relationship with my client. How am I coming across to my client throughout my relationship with my client? Am I coming across as open? Am I coming across as judgmental? Am I coming across as flexible? How am I coming across? And then, therefore, it gets very closely linked to safety and trust, right? Because if I'm not coming across that way, no matter what I might be thinking I'm coming across as, if that's not how my client is perceiving me to be presenting myself as, it's going to make them feel unsafe and it's going to be damaging the trust between us. So it has a direct correlationship to CC4, which is cultivating trust and safety. So today next dimension I want to focus on is about absence. When we say presence, we automatically look at absence. When we say day, we look at night. When we say good, we look at bad. And one doesn't exist without the other. You cannot understand day unless you have experienced night. You cannot understand good unless you have experienced bad, because then you will not be able to differentiate between the two. So how will I know presence if I don't know absence? Or how do I know I'm being present if I don't understand what is being absent? So what does being absent mean? Being absent means I'm not here. It is in the now, but I'm not here. I'm somewhere else. Which means what? Which means that whenever I'm absent, I'm being present somewhere else. We're always present. How can we not be present? We are always present. But if I'm not present here, then where am I? So the moment I ask myself, where am I present? Am I here or am I somewhere else? I bring myself back to here. So what I should be aware of is not only about whether I'm present or not. I think what I should be aware of is, am I absent from here? And therefore, am I present somewhere else? It's like, am I sitting here in front of you right now? Or am I at the door attending to somebody else? If I'm at the door attending to somebody else, then that is also in the now, but it is not here, it is there. So when you are in a coaching session with your client, it might be a good idea to not be so much focused on presence, but rather look at absence. I feel that's a gentle way of giving yourself permission to go here and there and come back, because to me, it is not humanly possible for us to be present all the time here, here, here. It's not possible. We will keep going away. We'll keep going away, we'll keep coming back. We'll keep going away, we'll keep coming back. The skill to develop is in how will you become aware that you have gone away, and how quickly will you be able to bring yourself back. That's all we have to develop. If I become, the moment I become, I'm aware that I'm absent, I become present. That's the beauty. If I'm not aware I'm absent, I'm actually not present. And I'm just gone without even being aware that I have gone. Doesn't that happen to us quite often? We get checked out, right? We get distracted. We stop listening. We stop understanding. We get into our own head. So it might be important for us to do some amount of reflection within ourselves and ask ourselves, what is it that might take me away? What are those things? And this could be different for different people. So therefore, there's no point in having a formula for it, right? Or what are those 20 things that are likely to take people away? I might have the 21st one. Then what is the point in me knowing those 20 if I am not aware of the 21st? So I think it's important for us to understand ourselves and look within ourselves and do some work with ourselves to figure out what takes me away. What are my trigger points? What did my client just say which made me switch off? What did my client just not say that made me switch off? And therefore, if you look at CC5, it also talks about emotional intelligence. There is an element of emotional intelligence that is tied in only with this competency. It will not figure anywhere else if you see, right? So it talks about managing your own emotions and being aware and being able to deal with strong emotions in the session. So if I am not aware of what is happening to me when my client is expressing emotions, or if I'm not aware that my client is saying something which is triggering some emotion in me, which is taking me away and making me absent, then it will take me that much more time to come back and be with my client. So I think this is what I had to give. I wanted to bring in the notion of presence as a demeanor. And I also wanted to bring in the dimension of absence and being absent. And what does it mean to understand I am absent and bring myself back, and also give myself permission to be absent once in a way. If I be absent, doesn't mean that I don't, I don't have unconditional positive regard for my client, or doesn't mean that my client is not important for me. It means none of that. It just means that I'm a human being. And just like my client will be absent, I will also be absent. So it's also about giving oneself permission. And the more human we appear to our clients and less robotic we appear to our clients, the more value we are creating for our clients. Else AI is anyway there. AI, by the way, knows how to manage emotions much better than us as human beings. So why are we needed? Right? So that was my bit. Thank you very much.